the cursor moving when I do it?
I can.
Okay. Number 3. The question here is identify name, address, telephone number, every person you claim to relay to you that Ms. Phillip is cohabitating or married to Sabu. Right. And you say that it is number 2, that Father Matthew disclosed in some messages to Sabu that Ms. Phillip had married in a secret marriage to Sabu in the presence of 6 people, correct?
That is what I heard.
Okay.
From Bina. Yes.
Okay. And that you stand by that response, is that correct?
I stand by what I heard, yes.
Okay. Now, have you been able to locate any of these 6 witnesses?
I haven't looked for it because there is no intent for me to get into Miss Phillip's personal matters.
Okay. And you have, so as such, you haven't subpoenaed any of the witnesses to appear here today to testify as to a secret ceremony, correct?
You mean the 6 people?
Right.
I don't know them.
Okay.
All I heard is 6 people, yeah.
Okay. And again, you're saying that you heard through Binu Mansi.
That's correct.
Okay. And Binu Mansi, you're saying, allegedly heard from Father Matthew, correct?
That's what I heard, yes.
And you heard the testimony of Father Matthew, who denies the ceremony or sending messages to Binu Mansi, correct?
Yes, I heard Father Matthew's testimony and Binu's testimony also.
Okay. And Binu Mansi, by the way, is or was your girlfriend / fiancée, correct?
She is not my girlfriend. Her marriage proposal came and we are still put it on hold because of all these issues going on. So she's not my fiancée.
Okay. But she is your girlfriend or friend, is that correct?
She is my friend.
Okay. You do not have a marriage license between Sheena and this Sabu to present to the court, correct?
I don't.
Okay. You don't have any other filings with the state of Georgia regarding the marriage at all to present to the court, correct?
I don't.
You have no evidence of the Catholic Church bans being published to present to the court, correct?
I don't.
You don't have any church records of the marriage being recorded at all, correct?
No, I don't.
Okay. And you have no witnesses who are at the marriage to present to the court who will testify that they saw the marriage, correct?
No, it's a secret marriage, so.
Okay. From Ms. Rubel, examination of you, is it your contention that Father Matthew got in trouble because of the secret ceremony?
I don't know.
Okay. Is it your belief that if Father Matthew got in trouble, he got in trouble with Father Tommy?
So possible, because I have reached out to Father Tommy. I met with his supervisor, Father Tommy, and provided all the evidence I have. Not all the evidence, but some of the evidence I have. And I wanted to find the truth because I only can, if Father Matthew is not responding, then my only option was go to his supervisor, which I followed the protocol. And I provided some of the evidence and asked him to investigate that.
Okay, now, Father Tommy's local, right?
Yes.
He's in Georgia, right?
He is in Georgia, yeah.
Okay, but you have not subpoenaed Father Tommy to appear, correct?
No.
Okay. Now, let's move on from the secret ceremony to cohabitation in a meretricious relationship. Okay. Again, you're claiming, correct, that Sheena cohabitated a meretricious relationship with this Sabu. Is that right?
That's correct. It is based on the information I have received from Matthew Thomas, who is also a witness. He stated that...
Objection here, Your Honor. Mr. Mayor be able to testify for himself. Okay.
I'm confused. Mr. Titus Thomas, who Mr. John is talking about, he's a listed witness and will be testifying. So with the context, the court can consider the witness's testimony when he actually speaks. My client, and unless we want to try to recall and do all that, I would have my client reiterate whatever the witness told him.
Yeah, that's right. He's been logging on and logging off, so he will be a witness.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. So I'll repeat the
witness
question.
needs to, yeah, I was going to say the witness needs to finish his answer.
I understand. Thank you, Ms. Rubel. I was going to say that my question was, what is the basis of your belief that Ms. Phillip is cohabitating with a Sabu?
Sure. So other than Binu, Titus Matthew Thomas have messaged me. It's all digital messages, text messages, conveying Ms. Phillip sometime in October or November of 2018, went to his house in Houston along with Ms. Phillip's brother Shaji and this person Sabu, and met them there and planned a lot of things against Binu and myself because of the marriage proposal Binu had with me. So he conveyed to me that...
Objection, Your Honor. What I'm trying to get at is what he's going to be... The question was, what is the evidence that he has, or the basis for his belief, that Sheena cohabitated in a meretricious relationship? That was the question.
So there are...
And the witness is trying to explain his answer. That's
a
very open question to explain what is the basis. Well, that might be a meeting with the witness in their house with Sabu present, and then what resulted after that. And he started with the time frame and was going to answer the question.
After he provided a lot of superfluous and non-responsive information.
Okay, so Mr. John T. Jones, so here we're gonna remember my whole theory before.
The clock.
What time is it? Well,
Yes,
tell me how to build
yes,
the clock, okay? And I understand this is going to need some explanation, but don't start with chopping down a tree to find the wood, okay?
Sure.
All right. So go ahead, answer the question.
So there are three major reasons where I believe that. One, I have received this confirmation from, or this from Binu Monsi, that Father Matthew conveyed to her that Sabu and Miss Phillip had a secret marriage. That's number one. That is, the second one is Titus Matthew Thomas messaged me that Miss Phillip and Sabu, along with Shaji, was in his house. So he witnessed it. The third one is all the emails, around 12 emails I have received directly from this ID, Sabu, between September of 2019 to July of 2020. With that included a lot of personal information.
Object, Your Honor. That's hearsay.
The question from Mr. Tannen was, what information are you relying on to say that you believe she was in a meretricious relationship? And so if he's relying on emails that he received in the content, that's what he's relying on, and that's the answer to the question. And now, one of the emails has already been admitted into evidence.
Right. Okay. So, Mr. Tannen, I'm going to overrule your objection because the stuff you are asking for is telling him to repeat hearsay. It is calling for hearsay.
Okay. All right.
So hold on, Mr. John, are you finished with your explanation?
Yeah. So the only thing I wanted to add there, Your Honor, is the email had specific details about myself, my family, issues happening between Miss Phillip and myself. So just to point out that it wasn't some random person writing the email. It was specific to internal things about my family, Ms. Phillips' family, our the issues going on, etc. So it wasn't somebody randomly creating an email.
Gotcha. All right, Mr. Tannen, go ahead.
Thanks. Let's talk about this Sabu. You're not claiming that Sabu had a permanent residence in the United States, are you?
I don't know.
Okay. And you're not claiming that Sabu resided for months on end with Ms. Phillip in her residence, correct?
I don't know.
And you're not claiming that Sabu resided for months on end with Sabu in any other home, correct?
I'm sorry. What do you mean
Okay.
the other home?
Let me rephrase that. You have no knowledge of Sabu residing in any other home with Sheena Phillips for months on end, correct?
I have some knowledge, which is again Father Matthew conveying to Binu Monsi, that Sabu purchased a house or rented a property near Father Matthew's church.
Do you have, and you have not been able to locate a lease for that, a copy of the lease for that, is that correct?
That's
property?
Correct.
And you have not been able to provide a title report showing any of that, the ownership of that property by Sabu, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And this would be a separate house from Ms. Phillips' house, correct?
I think so.
Okay. And you have no videos or photos of Sabu at Ms. Phillips' residence, correct?
Miss Phillips, I don't have access to Miss Phillips' residence to verify that.
Okay. And you have no evidence that Sabu received any mail at Ms. Phillips' residence, correct?
Can you please rephrase it? I didn't understand.
You have, okay, I'm sorry. You have no evidence that Sabu received mail or other correspondence at Sheena's residence. Is that correct?
I don't have access to her residence to verify any of it.
And you have no evidence that Sabu ever parked his car at Sheena's evidence or left his car there, correct?
That's correct.
And you have no evidence that Sabu was on any utilities provided to the house Sheena resides in, correct?
That's correct.
And you have no evidence that Sabu ever got a Georgia driver's license, correct?
I haven't verified or checked that yet.
And you have no evidence, correct, that Sabu had a green card, visa, asylum application, immigration application, or any other governmental documentation where Sabu lists Sheena's residence as his residence, correct?
I have no evidence, but I do have some knowledge of Sabu attempting to get visa where Binu filed a petition to deny it with the immigration services.
And you have no passport information showing Sabu in the country, correct?
That's correct.
And you have no evidence, direct evidence, from the asylum officer, which you're offering today, or certified asylum documents showing Sabu's seeking asylum in the United States, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So you have no firsthand knowledge at all about Sabu being in the United States, correct?
That's correct.
And again, you said, if I'm correcting me, that you never did an IP search or had an IP search done to trace an email address to Sabu, correct?
I haven't done that.
Okay.
But I did request a detective have to do all those things. That's the reason we reached out to Detective Have and also Milton Police Department, because these continuous harassments were coming from all these email IDs.
Okay. And you have not been able to trace a phone number directly to Sabu, correct?
No.
Okay. So I guess sort of a little bit in summing up, you have no evidence of a state-sanctioned ceremony in Georgia, correct?
About Sabu? No.
And you understand Sheena denies the ceremony or cohabitation, correct?
So Sheena denies is a questionable thing. The reason is when I...
Yes or no, and then you can explain your answer.
No. But when I reached out to Sheena for, I think after I received the 12th email or so, or maybe 11th email from this ID, specifically talking about my daughter being having some mental issues, which really bothered
Judge,
me.
again, I'm going to ask him the same for you to give him the same explanation you've given him before.
All right. Answer the question and explain the answer to that question.